That gave us our first few broadcasts, but prior to that we did a Radio Luxembourg talent contest at the Chelsea Palace, and we won 3 weeks running. And the final, you know, we paper the audience with all our mates because it was done on audience applause, you know. So we won 3 weeks running. The final was given to a piano player because they wouldn't have had to sort of pay so much to sort of get him into the final. It was a bit of a fix, but we got the exposure. But believe it or not, the last song we sang 3 songs at one a week. The last song we sang was Freight Train, and that's when we lost. But I was singing Freight Train at half the tempo we recorded it at. The record companies nearly all had skiffle groups on their books. We were one of the last to be signed, and I was furious with my manager for not getting us signed. And he said, "Well, you've got to get something different, you know." So we'd done a talent show, the same talent show at Chelsea that Nancy had been in, and she didn't get anywhere in the talent show. And he said, "Why don't you get her into the group?" Now, we'd seen her around the folk clubs, and we asked her to join the group. She was reluctant to. She didn't want to play skiffle. But eventually she did, and we re-recorded Freight Train for Oriole, and it took off eventually. And at one stage there were supposedly 30,000 groups in the country. That's not hard to understand. The number of guitars they were selling a week was stupendous. Anybody could learn the 3 chords, and they'd persuade their mates to get a guitar, and they'd have a group. Every barrack room had a couple of skiffle groups playing. Call-up was still around in those days. All the youth clubs had a skiffle group. So it just spread like wildfire. And as they got better, they progressed into earthier music, blues or rock and roll. But the Rolling Stones used to come and hear us when we played in Kingston. And I believe Mick Jagger first started playing a washboard at one time, you know. People like Albert Lee told me they started playing in skiffle groups, and Brian May of Queen was influenced by Lonnie to play the guitar. Van Morrison had a skiffle collection that he, you know, really got him going. The Shadows were the railroaders in Newcastle at a skiffle group. They came to hear us, and the last week Nancy Whiskey played with the group was in August '57. They came to hear us in Newcastle and invited us to a gig they were playing at a wedding. And I thought they were pretty good and advised them to go to London. Recently I've seen this on television, on a clip of a skiffle group being interviewed. I think it's by Hugh Weldon or somebody like that, and it turns out that Jimmy Page is playing guitar in this skiffle group. And one of the songs they play is Cotton Fields, or Cotton Song as we called it, and the version he sings, although most of the words are Leadbelly's, the version he sings is from our record. I can tell it, I can recognise it. It's nice to know that we influence people of that calibre, you know. When I was a little bitty babe, my mama would rock me in the cradle in them old cotton fields back home. Oh, when them cotton bolls get a rot, we don't pick very much cotton in them old cotton fields back home. It was down in Louisiana, just about a mile from Texarkana, in them old cotton fields back home. You may think it's very funny, but we didn't make much money in them old cotton fields back home. You may think